Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Justine, and this evening I'm covering the topic of how to effectively share your testimony. And to kick it off, I thought I'll share a story of when I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I went on one of our youth camps. And I remember being asked to preach. I was so super excited. This was about my second or my third time preaching. And I thought, well, I really want this to work. Like, I want to be a successful preacher. So I thought to myself, well, how did the guy who was the last successful preacher that I could remember do it? And the night before, we had this epic meeting where like kids had been slain in the spirit and we had been crying and worshiping and it had been amazing. And I was thinking to myself, what did that guy do? And I remember he had written on his hand 5 words. He had no notes and he just preached. And I thought, perfect. That is what I'm going to do. So I got up early the next morning on this camp and I prayed and I asked God to speak to me. And I felt the Lord give me some words and I wrote them on my hand. And I'd been given 20 minutes to preach. And I was like, bring it on. I'm so excited. And I got up and I preached my little heart out. I said all of those 5 words. I did my very, very best. And after 5 minutes, I was done. I had like nothing more to say, nothing more to do. And I handed over to Steve Wimble, who was leading the youth at the time. And he very graciously, I can remember his words saying, thank you so much, Justine. What I think Just was trying to say there. And for 15 minutes, he carried on preaching what I think I was trying to say. And I wanted to go under my chair and crawl on the floor and die 1,000 deaths that day. But I learned many things through that experience. I learned, number 1, that preparation is vital, okay? I learned, number 2, that I must not copy another person, okay? To all you young people out there, don't ever copy other people. Okay, the other thing I learned was to be my own person. But the most important thing that I learned that day was you cannot give what you do not have. If it is not in you, you cannot give it. And friends, I want to say when it comes to sharing our testimony, if it is not in you, you cannot share it. And I think so often we think our testimony is that day when Jesus Christ saved us. And yes, that is the most amazing testimony that many of us carry. But I want to tell you that Jesus wants us to carry a testimony of his daily interactions in our lives. He wants to do and interact in our lives daily. He wants to have impact in our lives where every single day he is breaking in, he is changing our lives, he is talking to us, he is meeting with us, he is stirring us, he is speaking to us, he's changing our worlds on a regular basis. And that is also part of our testimony. And so today when we're talking about how do we share our testimony effectively, I want to just deal with the what of the testimony. The testimony is not just that day you got saved. It's the power, the wonder-working power of Jesus Christ in your life. That is part of the testimony of Jesus Christ that you carry. It's so easy for us to get consumed with our lives and our programs and our busyness and our things. But Jesus Christ has called us to be consumed with his kingdom and his program. And I loved what Ntogo had to say, that we are called to be people that are set on fire for Jesus Christ, to live not just as ordinary Christians here on this earth. God is calling us to another life, to a life that is consumed and filled with fire in our bones. So how do we share our testimonies? I've got 2 things that I want to just share this evening quickly. The first is this. In order for us to share our testimony effectively, we need to be white hot for Jesus Christ. There is nothing worse than a lukewarm, half-hearted, middle-of-the-road Christian. Ever had a lukewarm drink that should be hot, like a lukewarm hot chocolate? It is disgusting. And that is what we are to the world when we go out there and we're apathetic and we're shy and we're apologetic. And that is not what Christ has called us to do. And especially as leaders in the kingdom of Jesus Christ, we have the privilege, friends, of representing our Father in heaven. And so instead of being lukewarm or freezing cold, we have the privilege to be red hot for Jesus Christ. And when we are red hot, we affect those around us. They naturally can see the testimony of Jesus Christ working in our lives. My sister always used to say, when we used to live together as teenagers growing up, you can pull off any outfit as long as you wear it confidently. And I think it's time that as Christians, we start to wear our Christian lives confidently. We need to stop being ashamed of being a Christian. We need to hold our heads up high and be confident and say, yes, we serve Jesus Christ, the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. He has done so much for us. He has rescued us. He has saved us. He provides for us. He looks after us. He has rescued marriages. He has saved children. He has done so much. It is time that we start to rise up and proclaim and tell of the goodness of Jesus Christ. No more shyness, no more apathy. Let us be bold. Let us be white hot for Jesus Christ. The second thing that we need to do if we're going to share our testimony effectively is we have got to go. So we have got to be looking for opportunities. Our oldest son, started high school this week. I'm exhausted. And anyway, officially he started on Wednesday, but they had orientation on Monday and Tuesday. And orientation was 7 until 5 on Monday. And thank goodness for him, his father picked him up on Monday. Because Mark says he got to the car with no bag. Now, it costs like a lot of hundreds of rands for all this new kit and stuff. So he gets in, he's got no bag. And Mark says to him, where's your bag, bud? He goes, hey, someone stole it. First day, not even the first day before the first day, and it's already been stolen. So Mark says, get back into that school and go look for it. Goes back and he comes back out and he goes, hey, got my friend's bag. Maybe he took my bag. So then we get home and we phone his buddy who thankfully lives about a few 100 meters around the corner. And true as nuts, that guy's got Jamie's bag and he hadn't even checked it yet. And so luckily we were able to do a swap or whatever. But the funniest thing was that a few days later, we're sitting with the teacher in a parent-teachers meeting. All the parents are together. And the teacher said to us, one of my favorite lines that I hear time and time and time again. So someone stole and he said, I'm telling you now, 1% of the time it's stolen. The rest of the time, the boys just haven't gone looking. And as he was sharing that, I thought, how many times have I missed opportunities because I'm just not looking? I'm just so focused about my life and my schedule and my children and my house and our food program and my exercise and my health and my life and my friends and my, that I miss the opportunities of the lady standing next to me who's having a bad day. I miss the opportunity of the friend who's something disastrous has happened to her child. I miss the opportunities. And friends, as leaders, as people, if we are going to be people that share our testimonies effectively, we've got to be looking for opportunities. Firstly, we look for open doors. We had a friend whose son went in for an operation. They were unsaved. Open door. Drop off a meal. We drop off that meal. She instantly starts crying. I say, why are you crying? She says, never has anyone dropped off a meal. I say, you never had a meal? She says, yeah. I say, where I come from, the church that we belong to, they drop off meals all the time. She looks at me like, what? I said, when I had a baby, for 30 days, my Connect group dropped off meals. I could see she was thinking like, this is amazing. You drop, open door, it's time for testimony to tell of God's goodness, of God's ways, of God's kingdom. Secondly, we can identify with people. Another unsafe family, we've stood on the side of the cricket field, side of the rugby field with them for years. They are the people that everyone like keeps a few meters. They're like hectic. They're very hectic. But they're like marshmallows on the inside. And it comes to a stage where their kids are old enough to start going to youth. And I say to her, hey, why don't you drop your kids off at youth, man? You guys can have the free night, just a few hours, good morals, like good standards. She jumps at it. Her kids start going. So, you can even drop them at church on Sunday. Then you have a Sunday morning. Eventually, they start coming to church. They start learning a new way. We think they've given their hearts to the Lord, but they're part of our church now. Their kids are coming, and they're involved, looking for opportunities. The last thing I want to say is if we're going to be people that share our testimony, we've got to be people that take a risk. I remember the one time we were in Spur, and one of my kids said, hey, there's a new boy that's in our class. And you're sitting, and it was just this one lady and these children. And Mark said to me, hey, go say hello to her. Oh, I was like, oh man, like we're off duty. Like, you just want to kick back. And anyway, so went and I said hello to this lady, and suddenly taking a risk, identifying, oh, you've just moved here. We moved here 2 years ago. I know it's hectic. I know it's hard. Identifying they're part of the church, taking those moments, taking those risks. You can do it. God uses donkeys. He can use you. He can use me. We've got a story to share. I want to just end with this. Friends, we can't give what we do not have. We need to have encounters with Jesus Christ. If you are carrying the Spirit of God within you, people will see that. People will be drawn to that. And you will see there will be open doors. There will be moments for you to risk. There will be moments for you to share. Take those moments and share what God is doing. Share your testimony and go for it. God wants to use every single one of us.